Seth Ferranti here, your guide through the dark corners of the criminal underworld. As an outlaw filmmaker, author, and journalist, I've delved deep into the minds of gangsters, drug lords, and prison gangs. But my journey doesn't stop there. Let me take you on a thrilling ride as we explore the hidden stories and untold truths that lurk behind the prison walls.
What's up? Welcome back to Seth Ferranti True Crime. That's me, guerrilla convict, outlaw filmmaker. Check out my shit out. It's on Amazon, Netflix, whatever. Check it all out. But today, we're gonna look at Tupac, man. You know, Tupac is back in the news. You know, a lot of controversy surrounding everything. You know, his murder, his death, all these years. Now this dude, Keefe D, has been indicted, arrested. So, I mean, what's gonna happen? What is the true story? Is it gonna come out? Are we gonna get some closure? I don't know, but let's get into the episode and we can kind of see, you know, where this is going from my point of view.
Born in New York City in 1971 to Afeni Shakur and Billy Garland, active members of the Black Panther Party, he was raised by his mother, who spent part of her pregnancy in jail for a Black Panther-related bombing she was later acquitted of. Tupac didn't know his biological father growing up and was raised by the Black Panthers in the cauldron of tensions and racial inequality that the organization was fighting against. Born in a violent era with violence all around him, Tupac was more revolutionary than entertainer. He was named after an 18th century Peruvian Tupac Amaru, who was executed after leading an uprising against Spanish rule. From the jump, Tupac was a very artistic child, getting involved in theater and even performing in Shakespearean plays. After spending his formative years in East Harlem, his family relocated to Baltimore in 1986, and Tupac continued his love affair with performing, attending the Baltimore School of Arts with future actress and Will Smith starlet Jada Pinkett. After getting into rap as a teen, Tupac found a muse in hip-hop and a form that was uniquely suited to his talents. In high school, he was popular, extremely gifted, and ready to take on the world. To many that encountered him in these early years, it was obvious that he had a bright future in front of him before his family relocated again in 1988 to the San Francisco Bay Area in California when Tupac was 17. In the Bay Area, he hooked up with Oakland alternative hip-hop group Digital Underground, first as a break dancer, and then eventually he worked his way into the group as an MC, appearing on several songs and in effect launching his rap career. By the early 90s, he released his first album, Tupacalypse Now, which featured the classic Brenda's Got a Baby. His next album sold over 1 million copies and solidified his place in hip-hop with radio hits like Keep Your Head Up and I Get Around. Tupac also got back into action as an actor, starring as the cold-blooded gangsta Bishop in 1992's Juice.
Riverside, motherfucker!
And showing his sensitive side in 1993's Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson.
So you was in it for the money, huh?
The fuck you know? You don't even keep your fucking nails clean.
Tupac's music and gangster image was a combination of two things. He was truly a conflicted individual due to exposure to reality. Pac had two sides and both of them inspired him to move towards a single destination. He had to utilize a combination of what he learned at home, in the streets, and in the School of Performing Arts to become that magnetic force of nature and persuasion. But Tupac, as befitting his entrance to the world via the Black Panthers, would live and die by the gun.
The streets of New York are vicious, as Tupac found out when he got robbed and shot in an event that ignited the East Coast-West Coast rap war. A lot of speculation has taken place over the years, but from deep within the belly of the beast, an original Brooklyn gangster, Dexter Isaac, has written a book, From Friends to Enemies, which breaks down what happened, why it happened, and who was behind it all. According to Isaacs, in the 80s, many hustlers in the streets of NY had more money, cars, jewelry, and women than the dudes that was rapping and singing. What I'm saying is these entertainers wanted to be like us, not knowing we was just hustling to feed our families and trying to get out of the hood. Rappers do be rapping about other people's lives. When hip-hop was first jumping off, it was fun. If two rappers had a beef, they handled that shit on the mic or on wax. No crazy gunplay where all their friends be trying to kill each other.
What they think is that I represent lawlessness and the outlaw mentality, and I represent that thug mentality from the street. So they feel like if they can punish me, then it'll punish people who are not as brave as I am.
The Quad Studio shooting, in which Pac was shot 5 times inside the lobby of the studio, took place on November 30th, 1994, the day before the verdict in Pac's sexual assault case was announced. The next day, Pac attended the hearing in a wheelchair and was found guilty on 3 counts of molestation. In a 1995 interview with Vibe magazine, Pac accused Biggie, Diddy, and henchmen of the attack, though evidence later showed Biggie was not involved. Dexter admitted that he shot Tupac 5 times, then stole the rapper's chains and gun in the lobby of the Quad Record Studios.
The reason I made this film is because when I first went in 93, the federal prisons were 75, 85% African American. This minister named the Reverend Tim McCoy, we follow him around at night. He has an organization called NIGHTLIFE. They walk the streets from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights in the most violent areas of St. Louis. It's also about a lot of the issues that have been plaguing our nation: police brutality, systematic oppression, institutional racism. I've been with these guys. I know these guys.
Something years later, an arrest was made. But are we really closer to knowing who murdered the gangster rap icon? This dude Keefe D has been on podcasts for 10 years singing this song. Now he's finally arrested? I mean, what's really going on? It seems kind of crazy.
Lane starts blasting. You say Suge looks over, he sees you.
Yeah.
He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looks at me.
Okay. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting shot. Evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out
in
of
the back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
I seen a bullet going Suge's head. I thought he was dead.
After attending the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon heavyweight championship fight on September 7, 1996 in Las Vegas, Nevada, with death row head honcho Suge Knight, Tupac Shakur became a victim of a drive-by hit. He was apparently the victim of a retaliatory hit. Earlier, a security camera in the lobby of the MGM Grand Casino had captured the beatdown of Southside Crip Orlando Baby Lane Anderson by Tupac and his entourage. Tupac lingered for 6 days before finally succumbing to his wounds on September 13, 1996, at the age of 25.
The murder of Tupac remains one of the biggest tragedies and mysteries in the hip-hop files. Does this stretch to Diddy like the internet says? To get the real deal on Tupac's murder, you have to understand the history behind it and what led up to that final climactic moment when he was gunned down and murdered in public, just like a mafia hit.
Shakur was shot 4 times after leaving the Mike Tyson boxing match in Las Vegas in a car driven by Marion Suge Knight, the head of his label, Death Row Records. The shots were fired from a Cadillac that drove up alongside Knight's BMW, but police still have no leads on a suspect or motive.
We know that when Knight stopped at the intersection of Flamingo and Koval, a white Cadillac pulled up on the passenger side of Knight's car and fired shots out of the back seat window, hitting Tupac 4 times and grazing Knight in the head with a bullet. Retired Las Vegas Police Department Sergeant Chris Carroll admitted that he was the first officer on the scene.
When I pulled it open, the guy sitting in the passenger seat, who turns out later to be Tupac, he kind of slumped out, came out with the door. So he's in the car, he's leaning against the door, and as I open the door, he kind of spills out. So he spilled out, and I just kind of grabbed him with one hand, and then I was pointing the gun at Suge with the other, because Suge is still trying to run up to me, and you know, the guy's clearly a threat.
The officer asked Tupac, "Who shot you?" And Tupac responded, "F you." He died 6 days later as a result from his wounds after never regaining consciousness, making his F you response to Officer Carroll his last words. A fitting epitaph for the gangster rapper that seemed to court chaos and controversy in equal terms. Tupac Shakur's death meant the ending of something extremely necessary and beautiful. Tupac was a paragon of hope and a person capable of articulating a truth that most people deny, run away from, or are too ignorant to comprehend.
You know, the adrenaline had to be crazy high that night. You know, Tupac and them, they just stomped Baby Lane, you know, a.k.a. Orlando Anderson. Then Baby Lane and his people, you know, they were fucked up. They were mad. They tracked Pac down and shot him. Let's really hope that Tupac and the world finally get some justice and closure after this decades-long case is finally closed.
I was more shocked than anything, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't more shocked of him dying. I was more shocked to him. Pac is a strong dude, yo. I know Duke, you know what I'm saying? He's real strong. So when it was like he got shot, I was just more like, again? You know what I'm saying? He always getting shot or shot at. He gonna pull through this one again, make a few records about it, and it's gonna be over, you know what I'm saying? But when he died, I was just like, whoa. I mean, even though we was going through our drama, I would never wish death on nobody, you know what I'm saying? Because ain't no coming back from that.
As the beef heated up, insults and barbs were traded not only in person, but in songs and in print. The Bad Boy Death Row beef was highly publicized and aired out in videos, raps, and in print. Not only were the two record companies trying to sell records and prove who was more gangsta, they were seemingly locked in a life and death battle. A struggle that was ultimately bigger than the entertainment industry, that resulted in the death of two of hip-hop's biggest stars only 6 months apart. With guns, bodyguards, and entourages of hangers-on trying to prove their loyalty to their crew, the beef was explosive and deadly, with numerous bodies dropping. From Atlanta to New York to Las Vegas to California, death was always around the corner. In the gritty world of gangsta and cocaine rap, everything was fair play and there were no rules except survival of the fittest.
And we're gonna prove once and for all that all these people talking about an East Coast, West Coast war, they like the Judas was to Jesus. They only here to cause confusion. We here to bring money and to bring change. They here to cause confusion. All these weak rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game. If this was chess, we'd be yelling checkmate 3 years ago, because we've been beat these. It's not a game.
Forget everything you know about America's war on drugs. Where it started, when it started, and most importantly, who was involved. This is the untold history of America's original drug lords.
I was like the white dude in prison that was writing books about the African-American gangsters. I'd ask about these guys, like these street legends, and they'd be like, oh yeah, that dude's on B Block. And I'd be like, what? I started going to these guys, and I started saying, hey man, like, let me tell your story. Like, you hear people in the media all the time where they write books and, you know, they're, oh, they misquoted me. You can't afford to misquote anybody in that. Especially if you're a white dude writing books about African-American dude. I mean, you could just imagine. I really think you gotta buy into one or two theories. The first being that Orlando Anderson and his boys, they were just upset. They wanted revenge for the beating inside MGM Grand. You know, tensions were running high. Keefe D's recent arrest supports this.
The other theory, which for me has always felt off, was that Suge Knight orchestrated the incident that claimed Pac's life, that the Orlando Anderson fight was staged as a red herring, and that he was ultimately responsible for not only Tupac's tragic end, but also Biggie's. It's obvious LAPD officers David Mack and Rafael Perez had a hand in the offing of Biggie, and it was masterminded by Suge. The LAPD did not want this crime solved, and Russell Poole, who was the lead detective on the case, lost his life while trying to solve both of the crimes. As some sources have suggested, it could have been a situation of one mogul, Puff Daddy, simply running his mouth, then another mogul, Suge Knight, running his. But when such speech falls on perked ears of individuals who take things literally, bad things happen. Conversely, or perhaps adding to the greater conspiracy theory, was Tupac's family history part of the problem? It's not really a secret there were certainly social, political elements that likely earned the rapper a few enemies. Despite all the research and investigations, it seems there are no easy answers. Maybe Keefe D can clear things up. It's amazing how many people associated with these two icons and their deaths have been killed. Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, the man who had the confrontation with Tupac in the MGM Grand, was gunned down, as were many other people who might have known the truth. The consequences reverberated outward, but the two possible main players and opposing forces, Suge Knight and Puff Daddy, remain. Baby Lane was a Southside Compton Crip who was friends with Eazy-E from NWA. He was identified early on in the investigation but was never arrested for Tupac's murder. Keefe D was his uncle and a Southside Compton Crip shot caller. Videotape evidence from the MGM Grand security cameras shows Tupac and his entourage jumping on Baby Lane right after the fight and stomping him. Shortly thereafter, Tupac was gunned down on the Vegas Strip. Baby Lane was in Las Vegas and had reason to retaliate against Tupac. Keefe D was a Southside Compton Crip shot caller and the uncle of the alleged shooter, Baby Lane. By his own admission, he was solicited by Puff Daddy and offered $1 million to kill Tupac. When he saw the opportunity in Las Vegas, he took it. Purely motivated by money, Keefe D and his gang provided security and other services for the Bad Boy entourage whenever they journeyed out west. As the Bad Boy death row beef escalated, Keefe D claims Puff Daddy ordered the hit on Tupac. Mack was an LAPD detective who worked with Suge Knight as a security guard and covert agent of Death Row Records. He supposedly had a shrine to Tupac in his garage and was very distraught and outraged when Tupac was killed. LAPD Detective Russell Poole asserted that David Mack allegedly did the hit on Biggie Smalls on the orders of Suge Knight after the Southside Compton Crips gunned down Tupac with Knight in the car 6 months before. The murder was nothing more than a retaliatory killing. Muhammad was a college friend of David Mack. They both played sports at the University of Oregon in the late 70s. Muhammad bore a striking resemblance to the composite of the murder suspect. Although he was a mortgage banker from San Diego, Detective Poole considered him the shooter. There were reports that the shooter in the Biggie Smalls case was a contract killer who worked for the Nation of Islam, and Muhammad fit the description.
Everything I ever say, whether it's good or bad, is coming from my heart.
Yeah.
And if it's wrong, then, you know, God ain't finished with me yet. Let him check me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to say it as it comes from my heart, because that's what we need. Obviously, when, you know, I seen all of that. I seen the crack babies, all of that. So nothing America can show me, nothing these critics, nothing, nobody can show me, can back me down.
Tupac Shakur left a mark on both hip-hop and the entertainment industry that still resonates to this day. There are countless rap verses that mention him by name, and new rappers still give praise, even those too young to remember his reign over the rap world. The words he spoke and the message he delivered will continue to live on for generations.
Thanks again for watching Seth Ferranti's True Crime. We got a lot of cool stuff coming. So look, man, subscribe, comment, watch, share. Let's build this, man. This is gangster shit. This is prison shit. This is street shit. This is the stuff you can't get nowhere else. I'm the original. I'm the one who wrote about this stuff. All these other people on YouTube, they copied my shit. So come see the real dude. Street Legends, Gorilla Convict, Outlaw Films. Peace.